Paddy's gearing up for the GAA All-Ireland Football and Hurling. For all live TV championship games, it's money back as a free bet if your losing first goal scorer scores a goal anytime. Max £20. Excludes shops. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Hello and a very warm welcome to the GAA Postcast. I'm David Jennings from the Racing Post, and if my voice doesn't sound quite as clear as it has done for the last 3 months or so, it's because it's day 5 of the Galway races, and I have been here since Monday morning, so my liver is not quite as good as it was this time last week. But I'm joined by two of the freshest men in the country. We've got Anthony Cunningham, former Galway hurling manager, who was actually in Galway for the early part of the week, and Paddy Ahern from our sponsors, Paddy Power. Anthony, you're a Galway man. How has Ballybrit been for you?
It was like the weather, it was up and down. Did okay there on Tuesday, part of Wednesday, but downhill yesterday.
Yeah. I think you're like a lot of people here in Ballybrit. I think it's been very, very up and down for punters. And Paddy, I think you were here as well. So we've a couple of Galway men here. How was your Ballybrit?
It wasn't too bad now. It was very tough, I think, on Monday and Tuesday. You were kind of looking around to see if anyone caught a winner at all. But it's always a great week in Galway, kind of, whether you win, lose or draw, whether the weather's up or down, it's the best week of the year, you know?
That's bullshit. I've had desperate weeks in Galway when I've lost. It's not about, people tell it's a taking part that counts. No, it's not. It's the winning.
Absolutely not. No way. You go into Shop Street, you forget about yourself for 10 hours, and then you wake up and you do it all again. Best week of the year, maybe bar Cheltenham.
And we all know you're a GAA connoisseur, but what's your racing expertise like?
Oh, it's absolutely phenomenal, sure. Unreal. Apart from this week, obviously, because I absolutely did my brains on Monday and Tuesday, and to a certain degree on Wednesday as well. But there's still 3 days of it left, so we'll try and get a few pounds for Sunday, hopefully.
God, 3 days. How am I going to make it till Sunday? Anyway, moving on to more pressing issues, and what a weekend we have in store, both in the GAA Football Championship and Hurling Championship. But as ever, we're going to start with our traditional and controversial 5 quick-fire questions. So, Anthony Cunningham, your first question is, very simply, who is the best hurler to have ever played the game?
Oh, it's a very difficult question.
Now, there's no sitting on the fence here
in
now.
In the 90s and the early 2000s, you'd have to say that DJ Carey was really, really something special. But I suppose overall, as an all-round hurler, I would have to say in modern times, and that's the times we can only talk about really, because it would be Henry Shefflin for me.
He had everything, as you said.
Yeah, I suppose all round really, and he was a huge leader as well, and I think pulled games out of the fire, got crucial scores at crucial times, and he could operate any player, stayed wing forward, centre forward. He's extremely dangerous around the square, and both sides, and I think his vision, and but as I said, that's a competitive question, a competitive field, and you would have to admire, particularly in his early days, was DJ Carey. Might have been disappointed in 1 or 2 All-Irelands, but his skill level and the pace of the man, and but I'd give it to Henry maybe by a head.
Well, if that's the case, me and Paddy probably back DJ Carey in that race, because we've been beaten in heads all week. Now, if you thought number 1 was difficult, number 2 is a question that's very interesting, because you could be managing either of these teams at the time. So number 2 is, who would you rather back for the 2020 All-Ireland? Dublin at 25-1 or Limerick at 10-1? I wonder, will both of these sides be managed by Anthony Cunningham?
I presume you mean football, no?
No. Although we know your versatility, so it could be hurling.
Football, I think, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's hurling.
Yeah, I suppose with the amount of young players that Limerick have coming through, you'd probably have to punt for Limerick. But I suppose if there's one team that has probably failed a bit to deliver on underage success, they've had a history of winning under 21s, maybe back to back, or 2 or 3 in a number of years. That hasn't really been fruitful for Limerick, really. And just talking to 1 or 2 the many GAA people that you'd meet down in Ballybrit there during the week, I'd say there must have been a person from every club in Ireland, both hurling and football in Ballybrit. But definitely, I commented to the guy there during the week that I don't want to name him, but it was the Limerick Kilkenny match this year, and the Kilkenny players even were a bit disappointed that that match probably could have been there for Limerick and just didn't seem majorly it. So they'd want to have I suppose, really a hard look at themselves in Limerick because they have the talent, and I'd probably go for you'd punt for Limerick on that.
Just quite simple what they need, really. It's just Anthony Cunningham. That's all they need. So Limerick at 10-1 for the 2020 All-Ireland. Okay, number 3. Who is the best goalkeeper of these 3? Davy Fitzgerald, Donald Cusack, or Brendan Cummins?
I'd probably punt for the least controversial.
Oh God, that's tricky.
Or Donald Logue. To me, Brendan Cummins probably was, to me, pulled off probably maybe the greater saves, really, and he was a tremendous goalie for Tipperary, and again a huge leader as well, and I think a player as well that changed during his tenure in the goals. He definitely changed his puck out strategies right through. Might have been one-dimensional early on, but Brendan really brought a lot of variety and a variation that Tipperary needed, I think, to go on and win their All-Irelands. And yeah, I think crucial saves at crucial times. I think Brendan, for me, would have edged the two boys. But I mean, anyone would have taken any of the three of them at any point in time now.
Yeah, you can expect a phone call from Dave Fitzgerald very, very soon. Okay, number 4, and this is quite an interesting one, actually, I think. What is the most important position on a hurling team? Because I have a theory in football, whereas I think the 2 wing backs in football are paramount, because they decide when to attack, they decide when to sweep across their full back line. I think they're available for kickouts. I think the 2 wing backs in football, especially for my club team, are crucial. So what is the most important position on a hurling team?
Yeah, traditionally, I suppose everyone said if you have a strong half-back line in hurling, probably centre-back, really, someone that's strong under the puck out, under a lot of balls. But you might argue that it's changing now a bit because a lot of the puck outs are changing. Really, they're not that long traditional down on the number 11 and let the best man win it. But I would probably say that it's still, if you still have a very, very good 6, I mean, you see Ty DeBorka, Austin Lees when he played there, over the years, Kilkenny always had really, really strong centre-backs. Shawnee McMahon from Clare, they were a huge fulcrum. It's probably changing slightly as well, and I agree with you on the football side that attacking wing-backs now are like, they're an additional forward, and Mayo was scoring, I think it was a 1-3 or 1-5 from play from their half-back line last weekend, was, testament to that, Lee Keegan, being the modern day example. But still probably punt for probably the centre-back, being crucial, but by short head again from maybe the centre forward.
A few very tight finishes here this morning on the GAA Postcast. And finally, number 5, and this is what everybody wants to know. What was your most memorable bet or biggest win at Ballybrit this week?
Oh, I think they're on Tuesday evening, Peter Fahey's horse there in the mile handicap, Sarah Felly. I think I backed him at maybe 5 or 6 to 1, maybe earlier that day, so that got me out of a bit of trouble.
Nice $5,000 profit there.
If I said €50 profit, yeah. But it was difficult to pull winners. So some of the fancied horses didn't deliver, and then in key races there, and so it was hard to get on top and stay on top. So it was a nice evening after that on Tuesday evening.
Well, I tell you, I thought of Anthony Cunningham in the All-Ireland final as manager of Galway yesterday, because I watched the Galway hurdle beside Joe Murphy, who trained the second Swamp Fox, and my heart went out to him. It was the most horrible experience of my life. He couldn't look at the screen. He was looking up, looking back, looking up. And obviously he tried a very short run. He went 1.1. He looked the winner and he was collared on the line. Well, the man went white as they passed the line. It would have been the biggest win of his career. Like you with Galway, Anthony, it would have been the biggest win of your managerial career. And that feeling when you're just nabbed right on the line must be an absolute sickener. My heart went out to him. So that was Joe Murphy. So Paddy,
cruel, you know.
Oh, it's cruel. Sport can be so cruel, so cruel. Okay, Paddy, your quick fire questions, and the one that everybody loves every week. Your first one is: what was the biggest bet struck with Paddy Power last weekend, and who was it on?
Yeah, well, last weekend for us was an absolute bumper weekend. I'd say like it's been our best weekend of the year so far with the draw and
Oh, we
kind of
love
getting
to
to the
hear that.
derbies. And I think the main reason is because I was at a wedding last weekend. I wasn't there to oversee things, so the trading went up immensely. We had a 12 grand bet at 4 to 9 just a couple of minutes before the off on Kildare.
Oh,
Which
lovely.
was our biggest bet of last weekend. So thankfully we got we kind of fancied our Maras, so it was kind of nice that it would come off. Obviously not nice for the individual in question, but we got to keep that one at least.
Yeah, and anybody that buys the Racing Post might have seen that Jamie Clark was tipped to get man of the match in there by a GAA journalist at 10-1. Very shrewd guy, that guy. Okay, number 2. With just 6 teams left in the All-Ireland Football Championship, what is the worst result for Paddy Power? Surely it's Dublin.
The worst result by a distance, as it tends to be every year, is Mayo.
No,
We are in the
Don't
hole
tell me
for
people are still back in Mayo.
100%. We are in the hole for 6 figures now in Mayo, and it's not going to come down.
Push them out to 20s, Paddy.
Yeah,
come on.
Exactly. That's what I would love to do, because they have whatever about any other year. They have absolutely, and I'd put my reputation on this. No chance of winning the All Ireland this year. But if they do, my reputation will be at stake, because we are currently 6 figures in the hole for them. So hopefully Roscommon can do us a bit of a favour now on Monday.
It's hard to believe it, but I firmly believe that they're in an All-Ireland quarter-final replay, but I think they have less chance of winning the All-Ireland now than I did at the start of the year, which is hard to believe. But that's Mayo. They're just not good enough, unfortunately. I'd love if they were. Okay, number 3. Which of the favourites are Paddy Power most keen to take on in this weekend's 3 matches?
Yeah, tying in with that, and we're probably touching it a bit more later on, but I think Mayo at least that's a no-brainer for this week. I was at the game last week, and I just thought they'd looked so out in their feet even after half an hour. Like the effort they took to, we'll say, get back a bit of that deficit in the first half. I just really thought they looked a really, really tired team. I thought they were a team in the ropes, and Roscommon just couldn't finish them off. I think they're a massive lay-in Monday, and we'll be looking.
We'll keep that good stuff for later in the show, Paddy.
Yeah, we'll be looking to get them the bag in it.
Okie doke, so we're going to kick off with the All-Ireland Senior Hurling semi-final, and what a game we have in store. It's the big one. It's Galway v Tipperary at Croke Park on Sunday. And Paddy Hurd, kick us off with some prices and handicaps.
Gladly. It is Galway 11-10. The draw is 9-1. Tipperary 6-5. The handicap at the minute is Galway -1 at 11-10. The handicap draw is 10-1, and Tipperary +1 at 5-6.
Anthony Cunningham, this brings back, I presume, fond memories and horrific memories. Possibly one of the best games I've ever seen. You were heavily involved in, and just very, very quickly, talk to me about the memories of that game in particular. Like, it was just a phenomenal game of hurling, wasn't it?
I suppose over the years there have been really classic matches of Galway and Tip, particularly at semi-final stages where maybe the pressure isn't on there. But if you go back over all the matches, they've been very, very, very close. And the 2015 semi-final was just, look at it, for the minutes before that Barry Kelly blew it up. The Tip were winning a point. It was just like that right through the match. It was very much a seesaw match, really.
What was the feeling like when the final whistle went that day? Was that it's so ecstatic, really, when it's such a close match, and particularly when you have high-scoring matches, just to come out on top. But as I said, it could have gone either way, and you'll get those with Galway and Tip, really. And I think it'll be no different on Sunday. But going back to that day, I suppose trying to curb Seamus Callan, a lot would have said, why didn't we maybe change the guys earlier? But even I think, he's the class, the type of goals that he got, and he was, quite unmarkable in certain areas that day. Just hope he doesn't turn up in that form on Sunday. But his scoring record, against Galway has been very, very high, and that day, like as just he was extremely hard to mark, and. But for Galway, they really, I think, came of age that day, and they're younger. Galway's younger players really came through with flying colours. So yeah, sure. Look at after that, a match like that, there's huge confidence to be taken, but there's also settling guys on the ground and resetting the whole
focus for quite soon afterwards at 5 o'clock that evening to reset for an All-Ireland, which is only 2 or 3 weeks down the road. So, you enjoy that few hours, but you're trying to, get guys to focus again, even at that early stage, and learn from the mistakes in the match.
And talk to me about this current Galway team. It's obviously been a fantastic 2017 for them. League champions, Leinster champions.
Big wins in the league semi-final, a big win and huge win in the league final, and they've coasted through Leinster. Really were on, for me in total control against Wexford, and maybe Wexford bounced back and got a goal there to 3 or 4 points in the middle of the second half, but after that they were very, very comfortable in the finish, and they're scoring at will, playing a very, very nice style. I think they're giving a lot of space to their full forward line, and Joe Canning and the half forwards at the time playing quite deep, David Burke playing quite deep, but having the ability to create that space up front that's needed, and really 6, 7, 8 players there can score at will, including David Burke and Conor or Johnny Cohen from midfield, and they've huge pace, and great to see Conor Whelan kicking on really from the huge prospect that he was at 18. He's his third year. He's still a cub really, but as an inside forward, you'd expect it from Joe, because Joe Canning has been through. He's had huge experience, and he's pulling the strings up there and bringing a lot of players into the game. I think everybody knew of Conor Cooney's abilities, and I suppose we had him in 2015. It was just unfortunate that he got a bad break in a metatarsal. He wasn't there for the championship, but everyone knows how talented Conor is, and he's the most unassuming guy that you'll meet really. I mean, he just takes it in his stride, and he just wants to play the game, have no fuss after a match, and get on with it. Actually saw him in Ballybrick there during the week, so I'd say he was relaxing in some corner, knowing Conor is probably sitting on a stool.
He didn't give you a winner, no?
Under the stands, no. But I know the Thomas's guys there, they'd probably pop in for an hour or two and go home and eat ice cream for the evening.
Now, I don't want your heart to rule your head here. I want you to tell me what's going to happen in this game and what type of game it's going to be.
I think it'll be very similar to last year's game. I don't think you'll see anything like the league final. I think Tipperary have an added advantage coming into that, and that you always think back of your most recent match when you're playing somebody, and that's been a real black mark against Tipperary, their performance in the league final. So they'll be extremely wary and driven because of that, and they won't. They're All-Ireland champions, but they won't even say we're All-Ireland champions. They'll focus on getting things right from the last day that they played. And last year's, what a lot of people forget as well, that last year's All-Ireland semi-final, Tipperary went 8 points up going through the middle of the second half, and were really in good control, and messed up a defensive clearance, and Joseph Cooney nipped in and stuck a great goal and brought Galway back right into the match. So, for me, Tipperary will be hard beaten, and but it is going to be very, very close. And it's really down to the two full back lines, I think, of either side. If Tipperary's full back line improve, which they'll have to, and considerably, and I would expect maybe a change in defence, Joe Dwyer maybe coming into the defence, because you'd have to be impressed with him in the Cork match in particular when he came into the game. So I think Tipperary will focus on that as well. So for me, it's really, really a toss of a coin, really. And yeah, just anyone that you meet during the week from the Tipperary side are very cautious, but expect them to go very close. But a few Galway guys, I'd say now, might be getting carried away and saying, right, we'll win this match easily. And I didn't like to hear that during the week, but I would say extremely close.
Paddy Ahern, tell us what's going to happen in this eagerly anticipated All-Ireland semi-final.
Well, this is the first time that it's been Galway race week, and I actually can't wait for the week to finish, because I just cannot wait for this.
There's a lot of punters like that as well now, Paddy.
Yeah, that's true enough. But To me, it just has complete classic written all over it. Because I mean, if you look at the last two games, like if you look at the last two semi-finals for the last 2 years, you look at the kind of like even I was doing the player points bets for yesterday, and sometimes you're kind of looking at teams, and it's kind of hard to match guys up. So you'd have a couple of free takers, like say Pádraig Mahoney against Callanan, and there'd be 4 or 5 points in their expectancy or whatever. But like if you look at the forwards, even on both sides now, like the match bets for the scoring are Canning against Callanan, Conor Cooney against John McGrath, Conor Whelan against Bubbles, Carl Mannion against Noel McGrath, and they're all the
throw
same
the ball
kind.
in. I'm ready for this game already.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and then like even going down, then you kind of have Joseph Cooney, Michael Breen, and David Burke against Bonner, and they're all kind of around the same point expectancy, and it's all adding up to 26, 27 points a piece. So I saw 1 or 2 people kind of trying to make a case for the unders and saying, well, this kind of live up to the hype that it has done the last couple of years, and maybe it might be a bit more cautious. There's absolutely no chance of that. Like, just because they just do the same thing every year, they just go absolutely at each other, and I think it's going to be a really high scoring, really, really close game. I'm going to have splinters on my arse now from trying to pick a winner out, because I really can't.
No, lads, there's no splinters now today.
Think the draw
there is no splinters.
I think the draw is a huge winner here.
Come on, Paddy.
Like,
come on.
if you look at it, but if you look back at last year, it was a point tips away. If you look back at the year before, obviously it was a points goal away, and even take the league final out of this year, but the league game down in Salt Hill in March in 2015 was a draw as well. So like, take the league final out of it, you're talking about whatever it is, nearly 200 minutes of hurling, and like after 200 minutes, it's a draw match between the two teams. I'd be with Anthony as well, in the sense that I have heard Galway people, like I've never ever seen as much confidence behind a Galway team going to Croke Park, and like Anthony might say the same, but like that's after following them for whatever 25 years. It's phenomenal, like the confidence that are behind this team. They've earned the public goodwill because they're an unbelievable team, but there's going to be nothing easy with this on Sunday.
Okie dokes, lads. It's decision time, and by the sounds of things, we're going to have bloody 2 tips for the draw. I want a final scoreline, a tip for man of the match, and a tip for first goal scorer. So, Anthony Cunningham, give me the final scoreline. Let's play Mystic Meg. Give me the final scoreline of Tipperary and Galway.
I'd go 126 for Galway and 123 for Tipperary. 124 for Tipperary.
Okay. So a 2-point win for Galway. And first goal scorer and man of the match shout?
For scorer, I'm going to go for a bit of value here for Cathal Mannion at 12-1, or maybe that's at any time. I'm not sure.
No, that's first.
Cathal Mannion will be well rested. I expect he'll be playing first of all, and I think he could. I'll go for a bit of value on that. I think he should be a better price. Hopefully,
and man of the match?
Paddy will give a good price. And man of the match. Yeah, that's very, very difficult. I'd go... Yeah, very, very, very difficult. I'd go... Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very hard. I'll go with Joe Canning.
Okay, Joe Canning for man of the match for Anthony Cunningham. Paddy Ahern, your 3 selections?
Yeah, like I say, I find it really hard to separate that. So I think the draw is a real runner. There's around 10-1 on that. So I'm going to go for a draw. And if you want the absolute, if you want the correct score, 221 apiece. Yeah, you go around and you'd probably get about 2 million to 1 on that. For first goal score, it's hard to know with Donoghue. I kind of thought he had to start Jason Flynn after what he did in the league final, but then I'm kind of looking at tactics and stuff like that. He might just start Niall Burke, I'd say, ahead of him. So I'd probably go with Conor Cooney for the first goal. And man of the match, I just think there's going to be so much scoring in this that it's going to be a forward to win man of the match. If you were looking at the Galway side of it, I'd say Conor Cooney's a serious runner again. He's hurling exceptionally well, and his injuries seem to have cleared up. So there's 10-1 on that, but for my nap later on, I have something kind of tied into that, so I'll leave that for later on.
Yeah, Jesus, keep the good stuff for later, Paddy. Well, lads, I have bad news for you because Tipperary are going to win this match. No reaction there at all, though?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I fancy Tipperary. I think... I know they were hugely disappointing, obviously, earlier on in the year against Cork, but I think they're the only team that can score 626 against Dublin. I think they're still just gradually reaching top gear. I think everything this year has been geared towards peaking at this time of the year. And look, we saw them against Westmeath earlier on in the year. They were just going through the motions. I think there's another gear in this Tipperary team. And I've said all along, I think when they're on song, they're unbeatable. So I think if an on-song Tipperary team turns up, I think they're going to win. And I think the score will be 325 to 223. So I'm giving a 5-point win to Tipperary, and I'm going to go for Bubbles O'Dwyer for first goal scorer, and I'm actually going to give him the nod for man of the match as well. So there you go. So that's the end of part one. Our competition winner last week was Niall McNally from Kerry, who correctly stated that Carl Lacey was the Donegal player who won Footballer of the Year in 2012. So he wins €25 worth of free bets to his Paddy a Power account. So this week's question is, who was the Galway hurling manager before Anthony Cunningham? So who was the Galway hurling manager before Anthony Cunningham? Tweet your answer with the hashtag Postcast, and the winner will be announced in next week's show.
Paddy's gearing up for the GAA All-Ireland Football and Hurling. For all live TV championship games, it's money back as a free bet if your losing first goal scorer scores a goal anytime. Max £20. Excludes shops. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Hello and welcome back to the GAA Postcast. I'm delighted to be joined by Anthony Cunningham and Paddy Ahern from our sponsors, Paddy Power. Now, these two lads are mad looking forward to Galway v Tipperary on Sunday. But the thing I'm most looking forward to this weekend is seeing the All-Ireland football champions in action at 4 o'clock at Croke Park on Sunday, and that's Tyrone. Tyrone face Armagh in an Ulster All-Ireland quarter-final. And Paddy Ahern from Paddy Power, let's throw out some prices here about the 2017 All-Ireland champions.
Yeah, we will, of course. We are currently 2-9 on Tyrone. We are 12-1 on the draw and 4-1 on Armagh. And handicap betting, we're Tyrone -5, 10-11. Handicap draws 10-1, and Armagh +5 is even money.
Right, lads, we rabbited on about the hurling there for ages. We were saying, we were hemming and hawing, and we didn't know what was going to happen, and there was splinters and arses and everything. Come on, this is straightforward. Tyrone win this by double figures, don't they, Paddy?
They win it anyway. Double figures might be a bit of a stretch, but I think they are going to win it. Like, the one thing I would say about Armagh, and I'm quite a fan of Armagh, I like to watch them play, but the last two games they've had in the championship, if you cherry-picked two teams to suit Armagh more, I think you'd struggle to find them. Like, Tip and Kildare just kind of made it a bit of a decent high-scoring shootout in both games, which absolutely suited them down to the ground. Like, the ironic
Paddy, you're stealing all my notes here.
yeah, it's I don't know. I just like, we've been against Armagh for kind of a lot of these games, but the last 2 weeks it just looked like if two games suited them more, you'd struggle to find them. This is going to be a completely different fare altogether. Tyrone are just going to, like, it is going to be a big pitch obviously in Croke Park, but Tyrone are just going to stifle them. Like, what they are good at is kicking long range points, but what they're not going to be good at is dealing with the space that Tyrone kind of limit to them, and their discipline wouldn't be the greatest in the world either. So I think I'd be worried in the second half if the game starts going away from Armagh. It could start to get a little bit hairy, and if I was back on either side of it, I think Tyrone could maybe beat them -5. I wouldn't say double figures, but yeah, I think they'll beat them.
Anthony Cunningham, just tell everybody how good this Tyrone team is, will you?
Tyrone are definitely not 2-9 on shots to win this match. Really,
what?
I wouldn't. I would say Tyrone will win, but I think it will be, someplace less than 5 points.
So you're actually
purely because it's
+5.
It's exactly, yeah. It's a local derby. Armagh definitely have improved massively and have had two very good performances. You have to say that. But the biggest thing is that Brendan Donaghy as a sweeper really will tidy up, and they will be very, very tight at the back. And I don't think that Tyrone will get in as easily as they've done in a lot of their matches to date. They just walk through Ulster really, but they will be extremely disciplined. Armagh will be extremely disciplined in defence. I would say the number of goals might be low, and they'll have to revert to taking. Now they are able to score at distance, but I would say definitely setup wise and discipline wise, and in the way they set up, Armagh are better than most teams that Tyrone will face. Will be a Tyrone win, but I wouldn't be going as wild as some of those comments on big scoring margin, really.
Okay, so it's Armagh +5 for Anthony Cunningham. Look, you've been wrong a couple of times this week at Ballybridge. There's no harm being wrong again, I suppose. Look, everybody that listens to this will know that I've been chirping on about Tyrone all year, and my confidence has just continued to grow from that league match in Croke Park against Dublin to now. Has just been a constant stream of Tyrone confidence for me. Peter Hart, Matty Donnelly, Niall Sludden, Mark Bradley, Sean Kavanagh, Colm Kavanagh, Tiernan McCann, Pádraig Hampsey, lads, they just roll off the tongue. This Tyrone team is ready to win another All-Ireland. I'm convinced of it. Paddy Ahern, a first goal scorer, man of the match shout from you.
Yeah, I'm going to be very boring with the first goal scorer. I kind of agree with Anthony. I think I don't know if there's going to be that many chances in it, and there's 6-1 around on no goal score. So I think there's a bit of value in that. And for man of the match, I think Tiernan McCann is playing at a really, really different level. I think he's one of those kind of modern day wing backs that just gets so many opportunities to score, and he's always kind of looking for a chance. And I think that there's about 16-1 out there for him in man of the match, and I think he's playing too well to ignore that.
Okay, dokes. Well, I'm going to continue my love affair with Niall Sludden, and I'm going to go for him for first goal scorer and man of the match, who Paddy Power are biggest about at 11-1. I have to go for Niall Sludden. First goal scorer 11-1, and man of the match. What price is he for man of the match, Paddy?
Man of the match for 11-1.
11-1 for man of the, first goal scorer. What is he?
So first goal scorer 14th.
14-1. Okay, so 11-1 and 14-1. Niall Sludden. Just admire the beauty of Niall Sludden in full flow at Croke Park on Saturday.
It's getting a bit worrying now. Is he talking about restraining orders and stuff like that? It's getting very romantic, the language, improving week on week, really.
When he gets the ball just around halfway and he sets off on a solo run, there is no more beautiful sight in football. That's my opinion. And obviously I tipped him at 80-1 at the start of the year to be footballer of the year. So a good game on Saturday wouldn't go amiss. Anthony Cunningham, first goal scorer and man of the match?
I go for value again. Peter Hart hasn't got it up for a score or got near getting a goal, but did last year. Since you've taken Tiernan McCann on the other side before me, I'd go for Peter Hart as a goal scorer there, first goal scorer.
And man of the match?
And I'd go for, since you wanted him for I'd be a fan of Niall Sludden as well, so I'd go for him for man of the match.
Come on, Anthony. We've converted you. So there we go. That's the first of the All-Ireland quarter-finals at Croke Park on Saturday taken care of. Now it's time to have a look at the All-Ireland champions. The defending champions are just holding on to it for the moment. They'll give it over to Tyrone in September. It's Dublin v Monaghan, 6 o'clock on Saturday. Paddy Ahern, some prices and handicaps, please.
Yeah, 1-14 Dublin. The draw is 20-1. Monaghan are 9-1. Dublin -9 is 10-11. The handicap draw is 11-1, and Monaghan +9 is even money.
And what are your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, I was very impressed with Dublin against Kildare. I kind of thought at the end that Kildare were very lucky to the handicap landed on the 9, but I think we all fancied Kildare in the week coming into that, and obviously the game was kind of over after 10 minutes, and they did well to hold with Dublin for the hour. But Dublin were really, really impressive. They just do what they always did. They just Con O'Callaghan has fitted in seamlessly there. I wasn't 100% sure. I thought he had to prove himself at the start of the year, but he's really done that. Even the likes of Eric Lowndes, all these guys who are interchangeable, they really have a strong bench, and I think if it's going either way this weekend again, I think it's been a kind of a long enough season for Monaghan, and they've just been kind of trudging through qualifiers, even that one down in Carlow. They are a good side, but I don't see them troubling Dublin. I think if it's going to go one way and Dublin empty out the bench, it's going to go the -9. I wouldn't have a huge strong opinion on it, but if I was going either way, it'd be on the Dublin handicap.
Yeah, Monaghan are a funny type of team. They can look very good, and obviously they did look good in the second half against Down, but they tend to take points from distance and pot shots from huge distances. I know Tyrone do something similar at times, but the shot selection in the game against Down was bizarre at times, wasn't it, Paddy?
Yeah, definitely, and they're very reliant on certain players to do that as well. So Kieran Hughes can kick a long-range score, and obviously McManus is as good as he can get it. At the start of the year, we were saying that Jack McCarron was going to be in that kind of mould, and he actually didn't.
He looks in my mould this year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he didn't have the worst game in the world against Down, but that's the thing. I mean, you're kind of going back to the old failings then in Monaghan, because when you're kind of looking around and when they're looking for shooters, they kind of don't seem to be there. Like, they have a really good running game with the likes of Colin Walsh and Carl O'Connell will join attacks and stuff like that, but you couldn't call them scorers, or like they're not the shooters that most teams are going to try and get the ball to in their hour of need. So it's just kind of coming back, being heavier lines again, and McManus, and I just like that's just not going to wash against this Dublin team, I don't think,
Anthony Cunningham, is it going to be straightforward for Dublin?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a Dublin win. Will they beat the handicap? It's for Dublin to win by 9 points in an All-Ireland quarter final. It's a big, Monaghan are defensive really. Have been around the block, have a lot of experience there, but you can't see that Dublin, past Dublin. Definitely, the last 20 minutes where they'll bring in their 4 or 5 key players who will want to impress, like if McManaman doing that now, O'Gara. They'll all want to get goals or to really impress in the last 20. So that will be the most difficult period, I feel, for Monaghan, how they'll cope in the last 20 minutes. But it'll be even Steven for a good 3/4 of the match. I think Monaghan will be more defensive than, say, the likes of Kildare and others that Dublin have come up against, and they'll try and slog it out for as long as they can. I think that it'll be more defensive early on than attacking, I think, for Monaghan.
Yeah, I thought the plus 10 Monaghan at 8 to 11 that's quite a big head start against an Ulster team, I think. I could see Dublin winning very convincingly by 5 or 6 points. That'd be my theory on the game. Are you from a similar hymn sheet, Anthony?
Absolutely. I think defensively Monaghan, and they have a lot of experience, and then we'll get some scores. I mean, Kim McManus will get his 3 or 4 or 5 points from frees. And if you had to pick a hole in Dublin, you would have thought that early on for Kildare against their fullback, the Dublin fullback line was a bit shaky, and I'm not fully convinced in it yet. So yeah, they could leak a goal, but it takes a lot of work to win by 8, 9 or 10 points. So that's going to take a hell of a lot of work. I would say Monaghan to be the first team to get a black card at 11-8 is something that I might chance as well, because they'll be tired. They're definitely don't shirk the tackle either. So either a black card or a red card, and Monaghan being the first, I think there might be a bit of value in that.
Whoa, I like that one. 11-8 Monaghan to get the first black card. Yep. Anthony Cunningham has been up all night studying for the GAA Postcast. That's a cracking bet. And shout for first goal scorer and man of the match, Anthony.
I'll go Dean Rock. He's their penalty taker as well, so I'll chance Dean Rock. And man of the match, it's a toss up. Pick one of the Dublin forwards again. Probably Conor Callan. Is too much to ask him to be man of the match 2 days running. So
go for Paul Mannion.
Paul Mannion has been really, really striking, I suppose, this year. So yeah, I probably should go for a defender in that. It's going to be a very tight match defensively, I think, early on, but we'll go for Paul Mannion.
Yeah, and I concur with that. I think it's time for another Paul Mannion show. I think he's 12-1 to get or 9-1 to get man of the match, and I'm going to tip him for first goal scorer as well. Paddy, your 2 selections.
Yeah, for first goal scorer, I'm going to go with Jack McCaffrey. I think he actually has a good, decent record. I think he scored a goal. He definitely scored a goal against Monaghan in the league this year, and I think he scored a goal against them in the league last year as well. 25-1, he's going to be running from deep. Now, he didn't really get much of a chance against Kildare, but I'd say he's going to be kind of tracking half forwards and stuff like that, so he's going to find himself in position. So I'd say 25-1 for McCaffrey, the first goal. And man of the match, I'd probably just pluck with maybe James McCarthy. He's playing really well, and this kind of the midfielder role they kind of put him into the last, it kind of looks to be bringing out the best in him. So I think there's around 20-1 on man of the match, and I'll give him a shot.
Okie doke. So that's the 2 Saturday All-Ireland football quarterfinals taken care of. And now it's on to Monday, and we're back to Mayo. Lads, I've had enough of Mayo. I just can't watch them for any longer. I'm at the end of my tether with Mayo. And Paddy Ahern, We spoke about it earlier in the show. You think this is going to be the final nail in the Mayo coffin?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I actually, and I'm completely...
There's excitement in your voice here.
I'm completely flip-flopping from last week as well, where I actually thought they would cover the handicap. But I was there last week with my girlfriend and her father, who, God help him, is a Mayo man. And geez, the poor man was nearly in tears at the end of it, and I was too, because I can't remember as bad a game of football as I watched. Like, it was all exciting and everything was great, but like the quality was absolutely awful. Like, if those Kerry lads came out of the dressing room looking at that, like, I hope they didn't, because they have to keep themselves on their toes, because they've been looking at that going, do we even need to show up to this semi-final? Because I just thought Mayo were so flat. They just look like all their big players, like the likes of Killian, the likes of Aidan O'Shea. Like, in fairness to the half-back, in fairness to Colin Boyle, and in fairness to Keegan, like, they emptied it out. But even Boyle looked really, really tired in the second half. And that was after, what was it? That was 8 days after the Cork match, where they had the extra time. Like, they looked really empty last week. And then it's only another 8 days where they're coming into Monday, where they're going to play Roscommon, who were, to me in the second half at times, looked like they were nearly handed the match, that Mayo were just kind of going, oh look, just go 3-4 points up, lads, and we can kind of throw in the towel here. Like, but Roscommon couldn't take any advantage of it either, because it was kind of a dirty day, and they just couldn't, like, their forwards I didn't think played well on the day either. But I think they've learned a bit more from last week, and I think they've a really, really good shot at beating them. I think there's 11-4 around there, and I think that's a proper bet, because it must be so hard for, like, these Mayo guys. In fairness, the one thing they don't owe anyone is like, they don't owe anyone nothing. I mean, they've come close to winning.
They're great. We know they're great.
They are a great
team.
We know. But this year, I think the road, like, it has to be narrowing for them, because it must be so hard to just keep coming back doing that week in, week out. Plus, they've no forwards.
They seem to love these Cliff Arrogers. Like, I tweeted during the match, after 11 minutes, it was Roscommon 2-2, Mayo a point. And I tweeted, a perfect start for Mayo, exactly what Rochford would have wanted. Mayo are great value at 7-4 now. Now, I know I was proved wrong, obviously it was a draw, but that is just typical Mayo. They love nothing more than a nightmare start, as we've seen in a couple of All-Ireland finals. Everybody's saying, this Mayo team is finished. And then all of a sudden they go, oh, we'll prove you wrong. Oh, don't write us off just yet. And it was just exactly what happened against Roscommon last week. But the problem with it is, and as you said, Paddy, it was a shocking match. The quality of the actual football, the fumbling. Now, I know it was greasy. The kick passing, the fumbling, the shot selection, the panicking under pressure when you get into a scoring zone. It was just like, as you said, if Tyrone, Kerry or Dublin were watching that, surely they were laughing at it.
Yeah, big time. I just think, like, it's just going to be so hard for Mayo to raise it. And the other thing as well is, like, O'Connor had a bad game last week. He was kind of self-indulgent. He just wanted to take the shot to win the game the whole time, and he kicked the game away. But the problem is, who else is going to do it? Unless they are bringing up their half-back lines, like, they just, like, Andy Moran is still there, 34, 35, chipping in with a few points. But we're saying it for how long, that they need an extra scoring forward, and, like, they're not going to find it before Monday, I don't think.
No, absolutely not. Anthony Cunningham, I have a feeling you're going to stand up for Mayo.
I'd slightly in that I think they'll win the match, but I was up there last Sunday. However bad the second match was, the first match was, to me, unfortunately, a brutal match and a really poor showing from Galway. And I suppose there was a bit of excitement in the second match. Otherwise, it was going to be a long afternoon, and that's been awful honest. And the two goals that Roscommon got really, I suppose, made it just exciting, or. As you said, they were, they'd gone so far ahead, and you were going to wonder, were Mayo ever going to come back? But they scored 7 on the bounce. Let's give them credit for that. But only 2 scoring forwards. Where are the other 4 forwards? I mean, everyone's saying Mayo need another forward that scores, but I think they need 4 other forwards. They're just extremely narrow as well in attacking. They're getting blocked down very, very easily right up the middle in front of goals, and there's no width to their attack. And I don't think their half-back line can keep bailing them out of matches. But having said that, I don't think they'll give away 2 goals against Roscommon again, and they will scrape through this. And I think Mayo by 1 to 3 points. Because they don't win them by more than 3 points in any match, really. That's what I would punt for. But disappointing in that the other forwards really have to step up. But I don't see them doing that. But I do think they have enough experience. This is a very, very young Roscommon team. There's no good few of those players, and they've boxed above their weight this year. And they definitely, if they stay together, will be a common force in Connacht. That's for sure, because they're extremely young. But I don't know. I think that bit of experience from Mayo will get them over the line.
And just a quick shout for first goal scorer, man of the match, Anthony.
I go for Cillian O'Connor to be the first goal scorer, and man of the match I'll punt for Lee Keegan.
Paddy Ahern.
Yeah, for first goal scorer, I think Jeremy Mercer didn't play that well last week, but he's proven before that he's much better than that. So I think he's a good pick for first goal. An honourable mention there for Conor Devaney as well. He's playing wing back, but he gets himself in a lot of positions. He's around, there's 25 to 1 available for him, so an honourable mention there. And my man of the match, I actually thought, as bad as both teams were, I thought Sean Malooly did a brilliant job on Aidan O'Shea last week. He really had a great game, and there's a lot of people talking about him as well, and there's 40 to 1 out there for man of the match, so I think there's a lot of value in that.
40 to 1 is a big price, and I agree. I think Diarmuid Murtagh might be the one. Just didn't really get into the game last week, but he's far better than that. I think he's 12 to 1 for man of the match, and I'll give him a shout for first goal scorer as well. So time will tell. We'll see if this Mayo team can once again prove us wrong, but it could be the end of the road on Monday. And 11-4 available about Roscommon looks pretty big to me too. Now, before we have our best bets of the weekend, a huge shout out to George and Donald from Galway Bay FM for allowing us the use of their facilities here in Galway Racecourse. Lads, we're live from Galway Racecourse this morning, and guess what? It's not raining. The sun is splitting the stone, so let's hope that continues for the weekend for Croke Park and for Ballybred. So all that's left now is the best bets of the weekend.
And that's the 2-point handicap could be obliterated.
Well, I'm going to go first, and as usual, Tyrone are playing this weekend, and as usual, they're going to beat the handicap, so I'm going to go Tyrone -5. Anthony Cunningham, your best bet of the weekend?
I'm going to go for Galway to win by 1 to 3 points.
Galway to win by 1 to 3 points against Tipperary. And Paddy Ahern?
Yeah, I have one here. Just one honourable mention now, and it'll break my heart if he does it. But Bonner Maher is 28 to 1 for the first goal and 9 to 1 to score any time. And Jesus, I wouldn't make him like those prices are way too big. The one I would.
Is that with Paddy Power?
That's not with Paddy Power. That's
okay.
That's for a bookmaker that dresses in blue, which I'm not going to mention.
Okay.
But my nap with the same company is you can actually back now, because when we're getting into bigger games, we're not just offering man of the match, we actually offer the man of the match RT nominations as well to finish in the first 3. I think a forward might get man of the match, but I think if Galway are going to win, Dahi Burke is definitely going to be in those 3, because he's going to have to do a huge job on Callan. I actually read an interview with Seamus Callan earlier in the year where he said that Dahi Burke is the toughest player he ever marked, and this is a guy who marked JJ Delaney in All-Ireland finals, and he's 11 to 2 to be nominated for a man in the match. So Dahi Burke to be nominated at 11 to 2 is my nap of the week.
Is it fair to say that your love affair with Dahi Burke is exceeding my love affair with Niall Sludden?
Probably close enough, to be fair. And year on year he's earning it more and more.
Time for another restraining order, methinks. So my thanks to Anthony Cunningham, Paddy Ahern from Paddy Power, and the lads from Galway Bay FM. I've been David Jennings from the Racing Post, and enjoy all the football and hurling action this weekend, and we'll be back with you next week.
Paddy's gearing up for the GAA All-Ireland Football and Hurling. For all live TV championship games, it's money back as a free bet if your losing first goal scorer scores a goal anytime. Max £20. Excludes shops. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.